My name is Anna, and I can't believe what's happening. Standing on the stage of the Miss Burbank 2025 contest, my hand clutching the check for $1 million, but my heart is anything but light. It's weighed down with the question, do I deserve all of this? This contest, this title, is not just my victory. It's a struggle against myself, against the values I've always cherished, the dreams, the hopes that have now become a reality, but the price I have to pay for them is still unclear. Just yesterday, I was still a girl dreaming of a charity, an organization to help children in need. And now here I am in this stunning gown under the bright stage lights, but my heart cannot find peace. This is just the beginning. But what I am facing is not the victory, but the hidden truths behind it. When I left the stage, the glow of the spotlight quickly faded. I could feel the coldness of this world, where things aren't always as they seem. Roger Young approached me, smiling, but his eyes couldn't hide the coldness. He was the one behind this contest, the one who had given me the chance to win, but I couldn't shake the feeling of doubt. "Anna, you were amazing on stage today," Roger said, his voice like a compliment, but something in it felt off. I, I can't believe it, I said, feeling my whole body shaking. "I didn't think I would win." Roger smiled, slightly provocative. "You are modest, but you've shown everyone that not everyone understands that true beauty is in the heart." He paused for a moment, then continued, "We can do so much with someone like you, Anna. You'll change the world." His words were sweet, but my heart couldn't find peace. I didn't come here just to win this contest. I came to help the children who need attention. I didn't want to get caught up in the power games that Roger was creating. Everything seemed too perfect, and I couldn't ignore the emptiness inside. I stood up, feeling restless. "Thank you, but I don't need your help. I want to do all of this with my own strength," I replied, trying to keep my voice calm. Roger smiled, not surprised. "That's what you need to learn, Anna. Life isn't as simple as you think. Sometimes we need to know when to compromise." I shivered at his words. I didn't want to compromise. I didn't want to be part of a system that only cared about personal gain. But all I could do was smile and walk away from his office. As I left the building, I could feel the change in the air. The street lights reflected off my face, and I felt like I was standing in the middle of an endless battle. My life used to be so simple. I just wanted to do the right thing, but now I was standing in the middle of the glitz of the contest, money, and complex relationships I couldn't escape. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Chelsea. Though I didn't want to read it, I opened it. She wrote, "Anna, you really think you won? Do you know who you're up against? Don't kid yourself." I bit my lip, trying not to let my anger show. Her words only made me more determined. I had to do what I promised, no matter what anyone thought. But inside, the worry didn't fade. How could I trust anyone now? Roger, Matt, Chelsea, all of them seemed to have something hidden. But I had to move forward. I had to continue my path. Beam. The next day, I decided to meet Matt Parker, the one Roger had introduced me to. He was a well-known investor who had helped many charities. Though I felt like I was stepping into a world I didn't fully understand, I couldn't pass up the opportunity. If I could get his support, I could make my dream come true. I walked into the cafe where we had agreed to meet. Matt had arrived before me and was waiting with a warm smile. He gestured to the seat across from him. "Anna, congratulations on your win yesterday. You did great," Matt said as I sat down. "I've been watching you for a while, and I believe you can do a lot of good." "Thank you, Matt. But I'm not here just to talk about the win. I want to do something meaningful," I said, trying to keep calm. "I understand," Matt replied, "and I can help you. But you need to understand that to do this, you'll have to step into the world of the powerful. You'll have to get familiar with the people who can really help you. That's the only way to get real support." His words kept echoing in my head. What was real support? Was all this just a way to lure me into a power game? The conversation with Matt Parker had left me more confused than I had ever been. He was kind, supportive, but something about the way he spoke made me feel like he was trying to reel me into something. I took a sip of my coffee, my fingers tapping nervously against the cup. I had to think this through. Matt continued, his voice smooth, convincing. "Anna, you've got so much potential, but you need to understand the way the world works. You want to make a real difference, right? We can do that together. But you'll have to get involved with people who can open doors for you." I couldn't help but feel like a piece of the puzzle was missing. Was this really the path I wanted to take? The world he was describing sounded like a game, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to play. Ma, I don't want to be part of a game, Matt, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I want to help people, not play politics. Matt smiled, leaning forward slightly. It's not about playing politics. It's about making the right connections, using the resources you have. Think about it, Anna. You want to help kids? You need money, influence, and the right people. That's the reality of it. I shook my head, my mind racing. I thought winning this contest was supposed to be about what's inside, not about connections or money. He laughed softly, his eyes glinting with something I couldn't quite place. You're right, but the reality is you're not going to change the world with just good intentions. Sometimes you need to make compromises to make the bigger change. I could feel the weight of his words, like a heavy chain trying to pull me in. But I didn't want to be like everyone else who had compromised their values for power. I wanted something real. I wanted to make a lasting impact, not just chase empty promises. I appreciate your help, Matt, but I need some time to think. I stood up, not sure if I was more confused or determined. I'll call you when I'm ready. Matt's face didn't change, but his smile became more calculating, his eyes narrowing slightly as if he knew I wasn't going to make this easy for him. I sat in front of my laptop, staring at the open browser window. I had spent the entire day thinking, trying to figure out what the right thing to do was. It felt like every path was leading to more uncertainty. But I knew one thing. I couldn't ignore my mother's warning. I had to trust my instincts, even if they were screaming at me to stay away from the people I had met. I opened the message from Sarah, a friend from law school who had been helping me navigate the legal side of my nonprofit. Anna, you need to know what you're dealing with. I've done some digging on Roger Young. You need to hear this. I quickly dialed Sarah's number, desperate for some clarity. Oh, Sarah, what's going on? What did you find out about Roger? Her voice was calm, but there was an urgency to it. Anna, I've traced Roger's background. I've also dug into Matt Parker's connections. It's not what it seems. Roger is connected to some very powerful people, but they're not in it for the right reasons. I have reason to believe he's been involved in manipulating several nonprofits for personal gain. My heart sank. You're telling me the man who's been helping me is involved in corruption? I'm afraid so. He's using the nonprofit sector to get to the top. But it's not about helping people. It's about control. The problem is he's got a lot of people backing him. And Matt, he's no different. They're all in this together, Anna. The weight of her words hit me like a tidal wave. I had been played. I had been so desperate to make a difference that I hadn't seen what was right in front of me. The reality of it all felt like a slap in the face. What do I do now? I whispered, my voice breaking slightly. I'll help you figure it out, Sarah said firmly. We can take them down, but we need evidence. We need to be careful. And Anna, you have to be ready to stand up for yourself. This isn't going to be easy. The next day, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was walking into something much bigger than myself. I knew I had to confront Roger, but I wasn't sure how to approach him. I had to be careful. He had too much power, too many connections. But I had no choice. I had to protect my dream, and I had to stop him before he could do any more damage. I walked into his office, my heart pounding in my chest. He was sitting at his desk, casually flipping through papers when I entered. He didn't look up at first. Anna, good to see you again. How's everything going? I trust you've thought about what we discussed. I tried to keep my voice steady, but I couldn't hide the frustration bubbling inside me. I know what you're doing, Roger. I know about your connections, about the way you've been using this contest to manipulate people. You're not the good guy you've been pretending to be. Roger finally looked up, his expression changing to one of mild amusement. Anna, I think you're getting paranoid. I've been nothing but supportive. But if you want to make it in this world, you'll have to understand how it works. You can't change things by playing nice. I stood my ground, refusing to back down. You're wrong. I can make a difference. I don't need you or anyone else to tell me how to do it. And I'm going to stop you. He leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms. You think you can stop me? Anna, you've only scratched the surface. You have no idea who you're dealing with. You're out of your depth. But something in his eyes flickered. Was he starting to feel threatened? I couldn't let him intimidate me. I had come too far. I'll take you down if I have to. I said firmly, my voice unwavering. We'll see about that, Roger replied with a thin smile. But as he spoke, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was playing with fire. This was bigger than I had realized. He had the power to crush me, but I couldn't stop now. I had a purpose, a dream, and nothing, no one was going to take that away from me. The door clicked, shut behind me as I left Roger's office, the weight of his words still hanging in the air. My heart was racing. What had I gotten myself into? I had thought this whole contest would be my ticket to changing the world, but now it felt more like a trap. I could feel the walls closing in around me, and every step I took felt like a step deeper into a maze I had no way of navigating. I walked out of the building, sobbing, trying to shake off the unease gnawing at me. I needed answers. I needed to talk to someone who could help me make sense of this mess. But who could I trust? Everyone seemed to have their own agenda. As I walked toward my car, I spotted Chelsea, standing near the entrance, her arms crossed. Her expression was tight with anger, but there was something else there, something almost desperate. Anna, she called out, her voice laced with bitterness. I told you, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. This whole thing, this contest, this foundation, it's all a joke. I stopped in my tracks, but didn't reply. Part of me wanted to walk away, but I couldn't. Something in her voice made me want to hear what she had to say. You think Roger and Matt are going to help you? She sneered. They've been using you from the start. You're just a pawn in their game. Trust me, Anna, I've been around this business long enough to know how it works. I shook my head, refusing to let her words get under my skin. You're wrong, Chelsea. I'm not some pawn. I'm doing this for the kids. I'm going to help them, no matter what it takes. Her face twisted with laughter. Help? You really think you can help anyone with that naive attitude? They're just using you. They'll throw you out when they're done with you. Her words were sharp, like knives digging into my resolve. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. I wasn't sure if she was just being vindictive or if she actually knew something I didn't. But I couldn't let her win. I had to focus on the bigger picture. Maybe they'll use me, but at least I'm doing something that matters. You're just bitter because you couldn't handle losing, I said, my voice steady, though my hands were clenched into fists at my sides. Her expression darkened, and for a moment I thought she was going to lash out. But instead she took a step back, her lips curling into a sneer. You'll regret this, Anna. You're playing a dangerous game. You'll see. I didn't say anything else. I turned and walked away, the sound of her voice echoing in my head. You'll regret this. Her words stayed with me, gnawing at me as I made my way back to my car. I slid into my car, trying to gather my thoughts. The weight of the day was starting to catch up with me. The confrontation with Roger, the conversation with Chelsea, it all felt like too much to handle. I needed a break. I needed to get away from all of this for a moment, just to think. As I started the car and pulled out of the lot, my phone buzzed again. Another message from Sarah. I've dug deeper. I think you're right to be suspicious of Roger and Matt. There's something off about them. We need to meet as soon as possible. I'll explain everything. My breath caught in my throat. Sarah had been helping me with the legal side of my nonprofit, but this was different. I could tell from her text that this wasn't just about helping me anymore. This was something much bigger. I quickly typed back. Where and when? Meet me at my office. 3 p.m. Don't tell anyone. I glanced at the clock, 2:30 p.m. I had half an hour. I drove through the streets of Burbank, my mind racing with the possibilities. What could Sarah have found? What had she uncovered about Roger and Matt? And why was she being so secretive? I arrived at Sarah's office, a small but cozy space filled with law books and papers scattered across the desk. She was already there, waiting for me, her face grim. Sit down, Anna, Sarah said, motioning toward the chair across from her desk. I have some things to tell you, and you won't like what you hear. My stomach churned. I took the seat, my hands folded in my lap, bracing myself for what was coming. I've done some digging into Roger Young and Matt Parker, Sarah began, her voice low. And I found some connections you're not going to like. Roger is deeply involved in several shady business dealings. He's not just a sponsor, he's a manipulator. He's been using the Miss Burbank contest to recruit young women for a much larger scheme, one that involves money laundering and manipulating nonprofits for his own gain. I stared at Sarah, unable to process what she was saying. Wait, you're telling me Roger is using me? Not just you, Anna. You are not the first one he's manipulated. He's done this before with other beauty contests, other women. And Matt? He's not just a philanthropist. He's part of the operation, helping Roger get access to the wealthiest people, all while pretending to be a good guy. My head spun. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was like everything I had worked for, everything I had believed in, was collapsing around me. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was helping kids, making a difference. But now it felt like I was just a pawn in someone else's game. What do I do now? I whispered, feeling completely lost. Sarah looked at me, her expression hardening. We take them down. I've already started gathering evidence. We'll report them to the authorities. But we need to be careful. Roger and Matt have connections everywhere, and they'll stop at nothing to protect themselves. How do I even begin? I asked, my voice shaking. You start by taking control. You're the one who has the power now, Anna. Don't let them intimidate you. You're not alone in this. I'm with you. Her words were comforting, but I couldn't shake the feeling of fear that was gnawing at my insides. I had made it this far, but now the real battle was just beginning. It wasn't just about the contest anymore. It was about standing up for what was right, even when the odds seemed impossible. I sat across from Sarah, the weight of everything I had learned pressing down on me like a ton of bricks. The world I thought I understood, the contest, the people I had trusted, all seemed like nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion. I thought I had won. But what was the prize? The ringing phone on Sarah's desk broke my train of thought. She glanced at it briefly before picking it up. Sarah Cheney, she said, her tone professional but guarded. I could barely focus on her words as I wrestled with the revelations. Roger, Matt, Chelsea, each one of them had played me, used me for their own gain. And what had I been doing all this time, thinking I was making a difference? Anna, it's for you, Sarah said, her voice softer now. It's Roger. I froze, my heart racing. I hadn't expected him to contact me so soon after our last encounter. The audacity of it. I picked up the phone with a shaky hand. Meh, Anna, it's Roger. His voice was smooth, calm, almost too calm. I know things are moving fast, but I just wanted to remind you, we're in this together. We can still make this work, you and me. You don't have to do this alone. What are you talking about? I could hear my voice shaking, but I forced the words out. I know what you've been doing, Roger. I know about the money laundering, the manipulation. It's over. There was a brief pause on the other end of the line. I could almost hear him weighing his options. You don't understand, Anna. You're in too deep. You've made yourself a target now. But it doesn't have to be this way. I can help you. We can still make a lot of money off this, and you don't even have to lift a finger. Just trust me. I wanted to scream at him, to tell him to go to hell, but I knew I couldn't, not yet. If I acted too rashly, I could jeopardize everything Sarah and I had worked to uncover. Just no, Roger, you're the one who doesn't understand. This ends now. I slammed the phone down and took a deep breath, my hands still trembling. I had just told Roger to his face that I knew what he was up to, but the fear still lingered in my chest. What would he do next? What lengths would he go to in order to cover his tracks? The sun had set, casting a soft golden glow across the park. I walked alone, my footsteps slow and deliberate, trying to clear my head. The calm of the evening seemed like the perfect contrast to the chaos I was feeling inside. I found a bench under a large oak tree and sat down, gazing at the horizon. I felt so far from everything. My dream of helping others, my vision for the future, everything felt so out of reach now. But I couldn't give up. I couldn't let them win. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a message from Toad Matt. I've been thinking a lot about our conversation earlier, Anna. You've got potential, but you're making a huge mistake. You need me. This is your chance to change everything, but you're about to throw it all away. I read the message, my thoughts racing. Was Matt trying to manipulate me again? His words seemed so desperate now. He didn't care about me or my foundation. He cared about control, about using me to further his own ambitions. I typed back quickly. I don't need you, Matt. I never did. I hit send and put the phone in my pocket, standing up and walking away from the bench. The cool evening breeze felt like a cleansing wave, And for the first time in days, I felt a small sense of clarity. I knew what I had to do. Bang! I met Sarah again, this time in her office, and I could see the urgency in her eyes. Nah, you were right, I said, the words tumbling out as I sat down. Roger and Matt, they've been using me. They don't care about the foundation or about helping kids. They only care about themselves. Sarah nodded, her face serious. I know, we got to be careful now. They won't go down easily. They're too powerful. I clenched my fists. I don't care how powerful they are. I'm not going to let them destroy everything I've worked for. I need your help, Sarah. I need to expose them. Sarah's eyes narrowed as she began to pull up files on her computer. I've been tracking Roger and Matt for months. I know where their weaknesses are. But we need to move fast. They'll start covering their tracks now that they know we're onto them. We need hard evidence, Anna, something that will make it impossible for them to escape. I nodded, my resolve growing stronger. I had come too far to back down now. What do we do first? Mentally, we start by going to the authorities, Sarah said, her voice steady. But we have to make sure we have everything we need to prove their involvement. I've already started gathering information. I just need you to be ready to act when the time comes. I stood up, determination in my eyes. I'm ready. Let's do this. The following day, I found myself standing outside the very building where it all began, the place where I had once believed in the contest, in the system. But now it felt like a symbol of everything that was wrong with the world I was trying to change. I was ready to take them down. I knew the risks, but I couldn't stop now. I walked through the doors, my heart pounding in my chest. I had a plan, but I knew that one wrong move could ruin everything. I could feel the weight of my decision pressing on me. But I had made up my mind. I couldn't let Roger, Matt, or anyone else take what was mine, what I had worked so hard for. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the stack of documents in front of me. My laptop was open to a file filled with names, dates, and strange connections between Roger Young, Matt Parker, and several high-profile donors. The weight of what I was about to do hung heavy in the air. I had spent days piecing together evidence, and now, with everything coming into focus, I could finally see the full picture. They had manipulated me, used me as a pawn in their game. But no more, I wasn't going to let them get away with it. They had crossed the line, and it was time for me to take action. I had been working with Arshawi, gathering all the information we could on Roger and Matt. The deeper we dug, the clearer it became that they had been running an illegal operation, using beauty contests as a front for money laundering, all while pretending to support causes like mine. They had made me believe they were helping me. They had made me believe they were the answer to my dreams. But now I knew the truth. They weren't philanthropists, they were criminals. My fingers trembled slightly as I scrolled through the documents. I had all the evidence I needed: emails, wire transfer records, interviews with people who had been part of the scheme, and most importantly, the testimonies of victims who had been used just like me. But it wasn't enough to just have the evidence. I needed a way to expose them, to ensure they were held accountable for their actions. I reached for my phone and dialed Sarah's number. Sarah, I have everything. We're ready, I said, my voice determined. My good, she replied, her voice calm but firm. We've already put the plan in motion. I've contacted a few people at the FBI. They're going to help us with the next steps. But we need to make sure we're tight with the evidence. No room for error. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. I'll get the last pieces together. I'm ready. I met Sarah at a local coffee shop, the atmosphere bustling with a hum of conversation. The coffee shop was our safe haven, where we could discuss plans without fear of being overheard. I had spent the night gathering the final pieces of the puzzle, but there was one thing left to do: confront Roger and Matt with the truth. I've sent the files to the FBI, Sarah said, her eyes scanning the room as she spoke. They're already investigating the financial transactions and the charity fraud, but I have a feeling Roger and Matt won't go down without a fight. We need to make sure we're not walking into a trap. I could feel the weight of everything hanging over me. I had come this far, but I wasn't sure what would happen next. Would they come after me? Would they try to ruin my life like they had ruined so many others? What's the next step? I asked, trying to steady my nerves. We need to set them up. You need to get them talking. Let them think they've won. Then we make the move. My heart raced. I had to do this. If I didn't, all the work we'd done would have been for nothing. They had to pay for what they had done to me and so many others. I walked into the Miss Burbank office, my heart pounding. It had been days since my last confrontation with Roger, and now I had to face him again. But this time, it was different. I had the upper hand. Roger was sitting behind his desk when I entered, his usual smug smile on his face. But when he saw the folder I was holding, his expression faltered for just a second. I knew that he knew something was wrong. Anna, he said, trying to maintain his composure. What brings you by today? I hope you've had time to think about our conversation. I placed the folder on the desk, sliding it toward him. I've thought about it, Roger, and I've also done my research. You've been running a scam this whole time. I have everything. His eyes flickered with panic, but he quickly regained his smug expression. What are you talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about. I opened the folder, pulling out the evidence. Emails between him and Matt, financial records showing the illegal transfers, names of people who had been used and hurt by their scheme. I laid it all out in front of him. You've been using me and countless others for your own profit. You've been laundering money through the contests and charities. You thought I wouldn't find out, but I did. For a moment, Roger didn't say anything. His face had turned pale, and I could see the realization settling in. He wasn't as confident now. You can't do this, Anna, Roger said, his voice shaking slightly. You don't know who you're dealing with. I'll make sure you regret this. Oh, you're already done, I replied, my voice steady now. I've already sent everything to the authorities. You and Matt are going down. Roger lunged forward, slamming his fist on the desk, but I didn't flinch. I had come too far to back down now. You think the FBI will believe you? He spat. You're just a beauty queen with a dream. You're nothing. You're wrong, Roger, I said, standing tall. I'm more than that. I'm someone who cares about doing the right thing even when it's hard. And it's over. Boom. I walked into the FBI office, Sarah by my side. The agents who had been assigned to my case were waiting for me. They were going over the evidence we had collected, their faces serious as they looked over the files. We've already moved on this, one of the agents said, glancing up from the documents. Roger and Matt won't be able to get away with this. We've got everything we need to put them away. I exhaled, the tension in my chest easing for the first time in days. What happens now? I asked, my voice shaky. Now we make sure they pay for what they've done, Sarah said, her hand on my shoulder. You did the right thing, Anna. You took control of your story, and now you're helping others. That's what matters. The agents turned to me, nodding. Thank you for everything, Anna. We couldn't have done this without you. Your courage has made a difference. I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about all the people Roger and Matt had hurt. I had exposed them, and now they would face the consequences. A few weeks later, I stood outside the Miss Burbank building, looking up at the building that had once represented all my hopes and dreams. But now it felt like the beginning of a new chapter. I had taken control of my life, and I had finally stood up for what was right. I smiled to myself as I walked away, knowing that this was just the beginning of my journey. I had found my voice, and I wasn't going to let anyone silence it. My nonprofit was taking off, and I knew I was on the right path. I glanced at my phone, a message from Sarah. You did it, now let's change the world. And I knew for the first time in a long time that everything would be okay. She took out her phone and sent a message to Sarah. Thank you for helping me find the right path. We will continue to change this world. Anna had learned the most important lesson of her life. Never lose yourself for empty promises. The truth will always prevail, and true kindness will shine, no matter how big the challenges are. Anna's story is not just a struggle against those who had exploited her, but also a journey of rediscovering herself, realizing the true value of resilience and compassion. Do you feel that in life, sometimes we have to fight to hold on to our beliefs and protect the values we hold dear? Leave your thoughts in the comments below this video. Anna's story can be a reminder that determination and courage can help us overcome the traps in life. Share this story if you feel it could help someone.